Let's break down promising underdogs and favorites that I noticed for UFC Fight Night Allen vs. Curtis 2. I'll also provide you my final probability for those fighters' victories as well as their stat differentials. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe if you find this informative, helpful, or even entertaining. I've also added my Patreon information in the description if you want to support me through that. Definitely not required, but it would be very much appreciated. Running data and editing takes hours every day and week, so I'd really appreciate any kind of support. And thank you to everyone who has shown me support recently. Also, if you like detailed breakdowns and predictions, I do those videos weekly as well for full cards, including prelims, so feel free to check those out on my channel. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So first, let's take a look at promising underdogs. The fighters' names are on the leftmost column, followed by their probability of victories that I presented to you guys in the prediction video I uploaded earlier this week. These probabilities aren't only based on several data science prediction models that have been trained for accuracy, but also other qualitative information about the fighter, such as their momentum, their recent performances, their career trajectory, psychological factors, their training camps, and their weight cuts. Then, I also provide the stat advantages for fighters compared to their opponents. I've excluded stat differentials where one of the fighters has a 0 for their stats, otherwise that could be kind of misleading. So the first underdog that I want to highlight is Damon Jackson. I gave Jackson a 44.3% probability to win this fight, which is pretty promising for an underdog. Jackson's advantages in takedown average and submission average could be crucial against Alexander Hernandez, with a solid ground game indicated by a higher takedown average of 2.44 compared to Hernandez's 1.2 and a significant submission average of 1.6 versus 0.1. Jackson could dominate if he manages to bring the fight to the mat. His stat differential advantages include a 2-inch height advantage, landing 1.24 more takedowns on average at a 3% better accuracy, and landing 1.5 more submissions on average. His strategy should be to close the distance, utilize takedowns, and leverage his submission skills to secure a win. Now the next fighter is supposed to be Alateng, but his replacement has similar potential to pull off an upset as well. Now, unfortunately, Alateng got out of this fight due to an illness, and he was a great candidate to feature on this kind of video. Replacing him will be Pedro Falcao, who has 16 wins and 3 losses, 6 of which are knockouts and 5 of which are submissions. His 3 losses were via TKO and 2 were via decision. He faced Leonardo Morales, who he submitted via rear naked choke in round 2, which was at Tough Enough 134. Now, prior to that, he was at Dana White's Contender Series back in October 2021, where he faced James Barnes. I honestly really like this fight. It probably won't be as good as if it were Alateng, but it's still a challenging fight for Hugo. I think Falcao is still a good underdog to feature on this video, and I'd give him about a 45% probability of victory. He's a well-rounded fighter, and both of these guys are finishers and have pretty good resumes. I don't think this fight will go the full distance, so we can expect a finish here, and Falcao has a decent chance of capitalizing and getting it done, so I wanted to feature him on here. The next fighter I wanted to feature is Cynthia Calvillo. She's probably the riskiest fighter on here to pick as an underdog. I gave her a 40% probability of victory. She has a 1-inch height advantage, a 1-inch reach advantage. She lands almost 1 more strike per minute and has a 7% better striking defense. She also has a 3% better takedown accuracy and an 11% better takedown defense. Now, she could capitalize on her marginally advantageous grappling stats, especially her takedown defense of 77%. She should focus on keeping the fight standing, defending against Rodriguez's takedown attempts, and outstriking her opponent to win on the scorecards. And the last underdog I wanted to talk about is Cesar Almeida. Now, Cesar Almeida is old, but I think his experience is very important. He's had 3 fights with Alex Pereira, and although they were back in 2013 through 2015, he did get a decision victory over him. He lands a lot of volume. He's 4-0 in his professional MMA record, with 3 of those being via KO/TKO. So he has the potential to pull off an upset here. That's why he's one of my picks. I actually gave him a 53% probability to win against Dylan Butka. He has a 1-inch height advantage and he lands 3.26 more strikes per minute. His strikes landed per minute is 4.73 compared to Dylan's 1.47. I honestly think Almeida can defeat him by using his striking skills. The key for Almeida is to utilize his reach and volume to control the pace of this fight and keep Butka at the end of his strikes and maintain a high output to win rounds and look for a finish. He has to be very careful to not get caught grappling and be taken down because he has a kickboxing background and that's going to be kind of challenging for him to be in that territory. Now let's take a look at promising favorites, which I've chosen through 3 main criteria. First, they have a high statistical weighted confidence, either through my prediction models or through fighter stat evaluation or some combination of both. Second, their opponent doesn't have a high probability of victory, so you won't notice any overlap between the underdogs I showed you earlier and these fighters. And third is that their odds aren't too expensive. If a fighter has negative 400 or negative 700 odds, they're obviously too expensive to pick. You could parlay them if you want, but I'm focusing more on finding you guys some value rather than just stating obvious wins and pointing out negative 500 type fighters. So I consider these three things, I do all of the work for you, and then I show you the valuable picks that fit those criteria. I'm not going to go ahead and dive into things like prop bets, but you can use my prediction video where I break down full stats and prediction models and pair it with this list to see what the most logical prop bets are. In those prediction videos, I also review likely methods of victories, so that will be of use to you as well. I've also included the stat differentials here for these favorites, so you can go ahead and see what advantages they have and how large they are. Now, I won't really dive into why each of these fighters are the most confident picks, because again, I've already reviewed them in my prediction video, but if you want in-depth information and breakdowns on them, you can check that out on the video that I recently uploaded, which reviews all fights, including prelims, and you can use these as a start to help narrow down your bets or even piece together your parlays. I like to keep my videos as short and dense as I can with information. I don't want to waste your time or force you to skip around my videos. So with that being said, that wraps up this video. I really appreciate all of you watching and being so supportive. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out the Patreon if you'd like to support me through there. Your support helps keep me encouraged and motivated to continue providing you all of these insights. Thank you all, and see you guys in the next one.